Jesus, I got Jesus, I got Jesus, I got Jesus, Jesus, I got Jesus.
I was in a car accident in 1999. I had heard, like, don't leave the house, but I went anyway. So, you know, in disobedience, there's a compensation, right? There's consequences to every activity. That consequence could be uplifting or it can pull you down. And this was one of those, I call them compensations of calamity, where my willpower to go to work that day was more important than honoring the voice of God that morning that told me not to go. I was going up a hill and I had a distinct flash of a car, a little green sports car, jumping over the double yellow lines and running head on into my car. I look to the side and I see the little green sports car and the lighting. Everything was exactly how it was in the vision I had a few seconds before. And while I was recognizing that, the car jumped the double yellow lines and ran head on into my car. I remember very clearly a series of visions from my entire life flashing before me, and I heard this voice just as clear, and it's like, what do I have to do? You have work to do. I grew up with a tremendous amount of freedom. No spiritual tradition or perspective was like handed down to me. I didn't grow up in church. There wasn't a ritual that I adhered to, aside from maybe saying, now I lay me down to sleep at night. Growing up without a spiritual home meant that I would go to churches with friends. I would go to dream interpretation workshops, yogi gatherings, prayer circles, all kinds of things. I really had a lot of freedom to explore. And I was impressed at how convinced everyone was in their particular belief system, and wanted to understand for myself, like, how are there so many different paths and so many beliefs about God? Like, what is true? There was a time I shared when I was very curious about who and what God is, and out of everything that I read, I was most attracted to the words of Jesus. And I remember I would like highlight my Bible, like everything that Jesus said. When I think of Christ, I think of a boldness of a soul who just knew that God was in, as, and through him, and this like swagger that he had. It's pretty impressive to think back to those times as a soul who grew up in the Jewish tradition, to just say, when you see me, you see God. The words that I speak are his words, and it's not I, but it's the Father that does these works. Like, there is a boldness and a swagger and a confidence that he knew that God was everywhere that he was. And that inspires me to no end. He's the way shower to me. And I pray each day that I get closer to that walk, and I call on him. I call on him for his strength and for his wisdom, for his understanding, and for his courage. Healing Truth Center, Healing Truth Center. I mean, there's a certain point where you listen and you obey and you act accordingly. So acting accordingly meant, okay, what is it that I am to know about Healing Truth Center? And step by step, the vision has been revealed to me. I guess I only see as much as I can do. Currently, it is an online community and a multimedia ministry. I do speeches, workshops. I also provide private counseling. I speak at events. And I honestly do any and everything God tells me to do. I feel like I've learned that lesson. That it's not my will, but God's will be done, and that's 24/7. My testimony would be that there is not 1 second of any day in my life when I haven't felt the presence and the power of God acting. Living and watching what God shows me means that I have seen souls in the ICU told that this will be their last day on this earth, who are alive and well and healthier than they were before their hospitalization, right now in this moment. And that is the most humbling experience of my life, is that every day I have an opportunity to watch God work miracles in the lives of others, and that is my testimony.